which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, all right, we were at 6:31.
Roll call with present new members.
Yep, no JP. Mr. Marchant is currently not a member yet, so we will ask an approval without him. If you may sit there, Mr. Marchant, we're not going to make you get up.
Okay, we'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make the motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Okay.
Okay, public comment or questions related to non-agenda items for the reorganization meeting? Not much there, huh? No, good. So we will move on to board organization 7.01, ratification of the ballot canvas.
Okay.
The school board election results for 2 board positions.
School board election results for 2 board positions are up on the board. And they have been brought down officially in this packet, same exact results. So we have to vote to approve those results.
I make the motion to ratify the school board election results for the 2 board positions.
I'll second it.
Okay, been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? We have to abstain. Probably.
Because you're, oh, I see why. So all those in favor, 1, 2, 3, you can abstain if you would like.
I will abstain for that. It's on there.
Okay, and with that, Mr. Marchant now becomes officially a board member.
Okay.
After he does this swearing in.
Okay, we're on to oath of office.
Okay.
That's you.
21 to first.
He has them, you can do them both at the same time, they just have to.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Yep.
And that's where at the same time.
No, because I believe they have to approve me becoming the clerk before he can swear me in.
Alrighty, so I'm assuming the chair, bear with me, this is my first. So, the chairman will go to fill out the top of the sheet after we're done.
Correct.
Okay. If you'll raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support, protect, and defend
that I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution of the State of Montana,
the Constitution of the State of Montana.
and that I will discharge the duties of my office
I will discharge the duties of my office
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
So help me God.
Help me God.
Congratulations. So if you'll fill out, you need to fill out, your chairman, you fill out the top,
Okay.
and then I'll sign it.
I guess is that they.
It's right on the spot,
Yeah.
Do I do that now though, or
We gotta wait until we
Do we-
reorganize.
do I sign it as chairman now?
Sorry. I was getting
So-
a question about
The board chair,
canvas.
so do we do we just go through all that and then afterwards that person signs, or do we sign
Right.
it as is now?
Kinda now.
Normally, we do this at the end of the meeting, and then bring in the folks. So normally you would fill it out, but since we do it backwards because of timing, get 2 people to
Correct.
Charlo, that I would say you fill the top
As is right.
as is right now.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
And then, because we haven't elected a chair or other chair, so. Well, waiting is
Right. No,
time to ask
Now, these,
commissioners to show up. Thank you for showing up.
these are gonna go back to post and get stamped,
Okay,
and I'll go back.
sounds good.
Okay.
All right, if you stick around for 5 minutes, I think will give me in, maybe. I'm not gonna assume anything.
okay. All right, so we are on to election of chairperson, right? We're done with oath of office, right?
Yes.
This will be no action.
No.
I would like to nominate Jeff Evans as chairperson for the 24-25 school year.
We have to second all this, or is that just?
You have to second it if we
Or is
want.
that just nominations?
Well, we could take a nomination there, and in the past, we've had multiple nominations, and we had a vote, or it would die for lack of a second. If that's the only nomination.
I'll second.
Okay. Okay, the nomination of Jeff Evans has been motioned and seconded. Is there any other nominations? Last year, we had multiple nominations.
Right.
And we basically had a vote off, so.
Right. So do we have any other nominations?
Okay.
Okay, so been moved and seconded, right? Just like normal?
Yep.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor? I abstain.
Abstain.
Okay.
Okay. Second, we have a first, we have a second. We had an abstain, not a nay. Very good. We have the election of the vice chairman is now up.
I'd like to make a motion to nominate Tony Scholler Jr. as vice chair.
I can't second.
I will second.
Okay, Mr. Marchand.
Just so you know. Okay.
Okay, the motion,
Is
is
there
there any
other
other nominations?
Okay, been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Okay, Tony, you abstain?
Okay, we will move on to appointment of clerk of board. Appoint Adam Huckluck as district clerk for 24-25 on the district clerk salary schedule, step 10 lane BSBBA, commensurate with the increase as negotiated with certified staff.
Any questions? Would like to ask.
How's our audits look?
Haven't had
Cases?
a finding in 5 years. The last finding was for Title I, an unsigned time card, and the one before that, 2017, was in activities account, and that was overseen by high school office. So not something that we see on a daily basis, and it was a missing receipt.
Okay.
So other than that, we've had 0 findings.
How many years have you been doing this?
10 years now in this position, 5 years as the assistant clerk. So 15 total on at the school.
I make the motion to appoint Adam Huckluck as a district clerk for the 24-25 on the district clerk salary schedule at step 10 lane BSBBA, commensurate with the increase that is negotiated with the certified staff.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Congratulations, Mr. Clerk. of
Thank
Board.
you, guys. We must do an oath and then let this fine gentleman. Thank you.
Do you solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support and protect and defend
that I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United
the
States
Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Montana,
and the Constitution of the State of Montana,
that I will discharge the duties of my office
and that I will discharge the duties of my office
with fidelity,
with fidelity.
so we got
I got it. All right.
There we go.
Is that,
So
and you will get those
back to you.
back to us after. Thank you. All right.
On a personal note, I've been hanging around your district since you had a wood-fired boiler. I don't know if you folks remember that, felt-fired boiler.
Yeah.
The place looks fantastic, and you should be commended. I'm amazed at the changes it looks. Thank you.
Thank you.
As a taxpayer, that's a stretch.
Yeah. Do I need to sign Adams or that's totally
No,
separate?
that's just me
Okay.
and me and Adam.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. All right, so we will move on to set times for regular board meetings.
This one has been a discussion, I think maybe brought up a time or two by other people, and this is just historical data, you guys. This is 7 o'clock time, third Tuesday of the month has been in place for I guess as the financial historian all 15 years that I've been here. I don't know when it started, but your call.
I like it versus something earlier personally.
Okay.
I'm with Stan. I kind of like the 7 o'clock.
It's been nice not having sports on Tuesdays, right? We haven't had that conflict this year.
No. And we've talked about Mondays, but the problem with that is Mondays are tough for a lot of people. I mean, we typically don't have sports is why, but that's been so Mondays and 6 o'clock are the only like discussion I've heard come up over the years.
Yes, I believe that's.
And I don't know how it got set at 7 to begin with. I mean, I get it. We have a lot of people that work out of town, you know, but it is nice for people who, I mean, for people who work for us to get here at,
Staff members.
yeah. So, I mean, I don't have a problem either way, so.
Then it would just require a motion, second and a vote.
I'll make motion to keep board meetings that will take place at 7 PM on the third Tuesday of every month.
I'll second that.
And moving second, any other discussion? All those in favor?
Okay.
Okay, so we will do appointment of subcommittees by the board chair now. Everybody has their sheet in front of them.
Yeah. I gave everybody a sheet and I've got one sitting here as well that I can make notes on.
I'll trade you. So
So
I underlined. So that's historically we've done where the new persons come in, but we can talk about wanting to move committees. I just underlined what JP was on.
Sure.
So
I'd like to give up interview if that's something that somebody or Tim would be interested in. I just don't check my emails enough and it's just, I don't feel like I'm doing
well, I think that would be
position justice.
Marchant would have a great aspect in looking at
I think
interviews, I thought.
you have any inside information on schools?
No, not really.
Or teachers and qualifications.
Teachers and qualifications.
No, that's fine.
Okay, so how about you, Mary? You still good?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, so
So, Mr. Marchant, or is that a yay on? Okay. Okay. And
anybody else want to move or change?
I'm good with mine. The only one I would entertain on jumping in would be the extra.
You want, I mean, I don't, you want to stay on there? Because I'm okay with not being on there.
I'm okay with not, Tony can take my spot on there.
Or I was
On
giving him my
extracurricular.
spot.
I give it to him first.
Yeah, I don't think you did. It'd be nice to have a female on it. Just,
Well, I can
Okay.
stay on there if you want
Okay,
to. but
okay.
so that's
so we're
is that
gonna,
okay?
Yep,
Okay.
that's fine.
we're going to flop
Order on the whole
Evans for Tim Marchant.
one. No, yeah, no,
Or no, Tony,
Tony, yeah.
excuse me. I'm looking at all of the ones I have circled for Thomas here that we
I know.
will have to decide what we're doing.
Yeah.
So,
You want to switch out on one, Jeff, or?
I just did with you.
I know.
Yeah, but then you gotta take one of his.
Well, no, I still have, I think I'm still
Or
on
take
7
JP's.
things, so,
Yeah, you might be. Well, it gives me.
well,
it
because
gives
I'm
me
on
6.
You're
That
on
gives me 6.
negotiations and
6, and
insurance.
I'm on
Okay with
6
that.
as well, so,
I'm okay with that.
okay. Stan, how about you? Where you,
Yeah, I gave up one, so if Tim's gonna be overloaded with all of JP's, then I take one of JP's.
well, I'm trying to
somewhere.
look at what he had, so.
you're looking
Board
at
Federation,
building,
you're
Board
probably
Fed-
not. Building, we meet, what, every other month? Ish, well,
Yeah.
I mean,
Depends. Like
depends on
when
what's
you're-
going on. We'll
yeah.
probably meet once a month over here with buildings coming up. Board Federation, how many times did you guys meet for that one? Not very often, right?
Not one time, and then
I'm just trying to give Tim a,
Well,
that one isn't
Oh,
very
shit.
busy.
I'm looking at, I'm trying to pawn anything off on your Marchant, I promise. I'm just looking at your strengths, really. Even the vacancy rift, if you want to be on that one, and then I'll take one of other JP's. I'll take his district office operations vacancy.
Sure.
And then you can do the vacancy rift. I would say the professional and training, but he's already on that.
You're already on that one.
I'm already.
Yeah. So Tim, vacancy RIF. And Tony, district office. You two, well, and then if professional training, so it would be left as building board and professional training. Did Stan go for building?
Or professional training.
And so out of the three of those, if Stan takes one, I guess it's probably a negotiation between the new board member and the existing one, which one?
So you, Stan, you jumped on professional training?
Yeah.
So JP.
Okay. What would be left is board fed?
So we have building and board federation that JP was on.
Yes. That Mr. Marchant would slot into.
You want to take
Sure.
over those?
Yeah.
Okay,
So I'm in building and board federation.
Yes.
correct. Okay. So can I read down this list for you real quick?
Yes, please.
So financial, all board members, negotiations, I have Evans and Lishman. Building, I have Evans and Marchant. Insurance, Lishman and Evans. Board Federation, Haney and Marchant. Vacancy RIF, Marchant and Evans. Professional training, Incashola, Delaney. District office operations, Incashola, Evans. Transportation, Delaney and Incashola. Extracurricular, Incashola and Lishman. Retirement incentive, Delaney, Incashola, and Superintendent Sergeant. Interview, Lishman and Marchant, and then calendar, Lishman and Incashola. That's what I have. Okay, everybody good with that? Okay. And we are,
Let's move on business for that then.
okay. Resolution of county to conduct elections.
have to
So we have to vote on
Oh, we
that,
do?
guys.
Sorry.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I'll make the motion to accept the appointment of subcommittees as read by Chairman Evans for the 24-25 school year.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor, or any question? All those in favor? Okay. Okay. All right, now we're on the resolution for county to conduct elections
I thought we already did that.
for next year.
No, so we have to send this election notice in before May 31st if we would like the county to conduct our election for next year. So basically, all of this election, school board, decision-making is done right now. Pretty much every school district does this. It costs way less than trying to provide employees and official results for in person.
I'll make a motion to approve the county election office to conduct the 24-25 elections for San Ignacio School District 28, Lake County.
I'll second that.
Okay, so moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
All right.
Okay, this meeting's adjourned.
This meeting is adjourned and we have 10 minutes probably to hang out.
Yep.
Because we need to wait till 7 for the next one.
At the salad bar. Snack table.
Would you like the live stream to continue?
Would you stop it, please, Mr. Nestor? Yes,
Rather than set up a whole new one, I'll probably just mute it.
that would work for me.
Pause.
We'll update it and email it out to you guys. Yeah, I have like the whole packet I gotta send out to the county. So
Okay, 7:00, meeting's called to order.
Yep.
We've already done the pledge of allegiance.
stand up.
So, we'll make a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
No modifications.
No, not at this point.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second that.
Okay, been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, we'll move on to public comment or questions related to non-items. Micah?
Just want to welcome Mr. Marchand and
Thank you.
just do a check-in with this issue I've been working on with you guys about non-enrolled student opportunities. Since Mr. Marchand is a new board member, I thought I'd give him a couple copies of some letters I submitted to the board over the past months. I know you were here. It must have been the March meeting. Attendance, so you heard the bulk of the discussion, which I thought was great. I came away from that meeting with the understanding that, you know, the handbooks would be revised in July, or at least the decision to revise the handbooks would be in July. But then also there would probably be some pre-work coming into it. So I just wanted to check in with the board and see how I can be involved with that procedurally. Are there going to be like draft handbooks released in the coming months that I could take a look at with the proposed revisions? And also how, if I see like an alternative that I wanted to propose, how would I go about doing that?
We, one document that would be nice to share with you would be probably the extracurricular versus, what do we call it? What's the- co-curricular list. That would be something good to look at. That was something that we just kind of put in place due to the legislative action, but that would be something to look at and kind of decipher from there, because looking at that gives us boundaries of what we can do for co-curricular and extracurricular and what needs to be added or amended to that list. I mean, that'd be one.
Was that a list that you guys created that was on the?
That
Done
was
in March.
The one that
It
it was
broke down all
yeah, in, was it March?
It was in March.
I believe so.
What are the boundaries you're talking about? Because it seems since you guys created them, your boundaries haven't. Are you saying that there's like, I don't know, like state requirements for boundaries or something?
Yeah, so the court, Sarge, if you want to jump in.
So, yeah, basically 3 areas. One is extracurricular for each school. I think you've seen this document, right? Or not?
I have like this, what was on the.
Yes,
agenda.
Yes, so that's
you're
what
talking about.
that's what will be, it's been added to it before, like we had the meeting, there's a couple that will be added for the July for the handbooks, but that's what will be presented in the handbooks, is that policy. Extracurricular for what is considered extracurricular with legislative changes for high school, homeschool are, wide open for participation. Middle school, elementary, co-curricular are all the activities that we offer that are either school sponsored or partially sponsored, and then clubs and activities which are not school sponsored, any financial support.
But just to be clear, you're saying that the activities that are classified under co-curricular and the non-school sponsored community events, I think is how you somewhat categorize it. Those aren't, there isn't any like state level or higher level action.
No.
That's all something that this board
Yes.
is creating. Okay. So yeah, my assumption is as it was presented and decided on back in March, this was what would appear in the handbook. But like if I wanted to still present an alternative or suggest that an activity would be in another classification or create a new classification altogether, how would I go about doing that?
Talk to myself or the principals. Probably myself would be the quickest. Talk to me about what your proposal is. The principals put their own handbooks together. They come to me I look through them, and then I present them to the board.
Okay, so if I were to present an alternative, much like I did back in March, I would like write that out, email it to you, and you would send it to the board for consideration.
I wouldn't send it to the board if I didn't believe in it, but I would look at it, and then I'm gonna present to the board what I believe is best for the school district and those handbooks.
You're free to send us information and alternatives as
Direct.
much as you want directly. That we could review ourselves, and if we feel like something needs an attention, we bring that up.
So I don't need to go through.
If you want something to put on the agenda and voted on to change policy, then yeah, you definitely have to go through him. If we have ideas, we still need to bring it up here and have him work it out before it's presented. We can't just make a random motion to present here and change policy. It has to still get vetted through the superintendent to put in a document and then vote on.
So if you had something for us, if you wanted to email us directly, you've done that before, you can. And then if we had questions about it that we thought were important enough to take to the superintendent, we can go to the superintendent and talk with him and say, this is what I think. I agree with this or not, or whatever it may be. But he ultimately is going to present us with the handbooks after looking through everything and taking into consideration all that's presented to him and the information that he gets. Then that comes to us, gets put on the agenda, and then that's when we vote on it.
So I mean, looking at your issue you brought up before, it's labeled as co-curricular. If I don't get these terms wrong, you know, one option would be to make it as a non-school sponsored event, which would be an option, but that would take a large uptaken by the community or a person like yourselves to lead that effort if it's non-school sponsored event.
Well, I mean, that category is created by Mr. Sargent, if I'm not mistaken. So I mean, there's an infinite amount of options, right? Like, I mean, we could create a category that is school-sponsored community event or something like that, right? Where it's still organized by the school, but it's open to all community members.
But isn't that essentially a co-curricular activity? You want it to be
No,
that
because
it's
in
non-enrolled
this,
students can be
right,
part of any co-curricular activity.
because my understanding is this, as presented, is saying that non-enrolled students can't participate in co-curriculars. And I understand in many cases, as was discovered a couple of meetings ago, that's for good reason. But I do feel like that there's some activities that could be open to people.
And we're open to hear those options and ideas from you. If you want to email or present those to us.
I guess I just didn't know how to like categorize that. Would I make a new category like I just mentioned, or?
Well, what I would say is if you want to, whatever category it has to be, it can't be funded by the school. The co-curricular has a partial funding by the school. That's why it's co-curricular. Clubs, that's what this list is broke down into, whether the school spends any money on these clubs or not. So these co-curricular, the school puts money into it. Small, big, medium, whatever. So if we want to take something out of co-curricular, we have to make it so where the school's not funding it, is basically the bottom. I mean, that you can make whatever category you want. But the co-curricular list that's on this list is things that are funded by the school. Same as with the extracurricular, that's governed by MHSA, not St. Ignatius schools.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
So so the co-curricular list is money that the school spends for those to happen.
Well,
It's not a list that's made up out of the air. These are a list that was made
yeah, I understand.
that are funded by the school. So if we want to make a list for community, funded by the community, we can do that list too.
But up until last year, that wasn't the case exclusively.
Correct.
It's gone back and forth in the past, if I recall.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, it was the same way it is now, and then changed back to allowing non-enrolled students to participate. And then now it's looking like it's changing back to not allowing non-school enrolled students to participate. And it's a hard choice. I understand it. And it's one thing we gotta look at is the funding that this school gets is for the enrolled students. And so we want to prioritize those enrolled students in some of those activities.
Yeah, and I
And if-
certainly get that, and I certainly understand that with the co-curricular activities, some are strictly appropriate only for enrolled students. Totally get that, but as I said, I do feel like there's a couple activities that could give the opportunity to reach out to our community, our wider community.
And we're open to hear those
Okay,
those options that you have or what examples that you have that could be.
so yeah, I have ideas, but
So put those down.
put
Let
those
us
down in
know.
an email to the board and Mr. Sargent.
Would it be appropriate to say that the subcommittee extracurricular could actually be /co// activities? Is that committee, so now it's
Tony
trustee
and I.
Lishman and
Yeah.
trustee Inkashula, because we get that, and I kind of was thinking, oh, that's really not my committee. And I think if you concentrate, maybe you could even like arrange a meeting with that committee and then get the committee work done before presenting it to the board. I don't know, is that a train of thought that makes any sense, or?
But it's on the policy. It's not necessarily on the extracurricular. It's on the
Is,
policy.
how often does the extracurricular committee meet?
Couple times. Or so it has-
Their focus has been extra. They've never
Done.
dealt with
Yeah.
The handbook,
soccer or, they've never been a part of.
it's more
It's
just,
just principals write the handbooks.
Yeah.
And we did go through that particular one, and it was good. I mean, I think it was good to finally establish where things fall and what is supported and what is not. I mean, but yeah, it was
So
approved
busy
in
with the
March. So right
principals
now it's
versus
already
the
been the second. Yeah,
extracurricular.
Yeah. they write their handbooks.
So yeah, so ultimately, since the entire board decides on the handbook updates, sounds like.
Yeah.
For this.
They have to
approve this in the law. Okay. I have been unable to locate any board members' emails on the website. How do I get those?
We'll make a note to put those on the website, and I can send them to you, Micah, if you will give me your.
Yeah, it's just my
thought
first
they
name
were on there.
dot last name, Micah.Helser.
Okay.
@gmail.com.
@gmail.com. Okay, there also will be updated this week and available on OPI because we have to record any board members and all of that stuff. So
It's just first letter, last name for all board members, first name, and then
First
first
initial.
initial, last name at StNationSchools.org.
No
Just like
dot.
the rest of them.
Yeah, no
St.
dot.
Nation, no dot, yeah. Just like the teachers and mine.
Okay. I've had issues with it before, so.
yeah, and I'll email you.
Okay. Well, like I mentioned, I don't want to go into too much more, but it's just been a challenge to navigate the process. So, I understand there's some nuances in between like what gets on the agenda, like through the superintendent versus the board, but I appreciate you, all of you welcoming, at least listening to what I have to say. And hopefully you can help at least suggest to me the right way to go about the process. I realize everybody has a different decision, but I'm not an expert at the process, just trying to learn.
Right. So, and just, I mean, and we're always open to ideas. I mean, we are. As far as moving things, I mean, we have to have if you have a plan for it, give us the full plan, like who's gonna run it, how's it gonna be funded, how's it gonna be executed, when is it gonna be executed, like MCT's big thing. So that's always, I think it's in the fall. So I mean, I'm just saying, like if you have an idea, like this needs to happen in the spring, this has to be organized by this group, funded by this group, funded partially here, partially there, however, I'm just, whatever your idea is, try to give as many details as you can, I guess.
No, I appreciate that. I will not go into that level of detail, but I do think it's important that when we make this decision, we think, for the future and, all the other activities that are going to pop up that are new or disappear because there's no interest anymore. So I guess I'm more interested in creating the framework, So even if we have a bucket that is school sponsored but welcomes non-enrolled students and there's nothing in it, why not have that, because something might come up and we can categorize it there. At least you have the mechanism to make that happen. And again, I know we always talk about MCT as an example, and that it was the catalyst behind all this. But for me, if you go back and read my letters, this is so much more than just children's theater.
Right, no, I was just using that as an
No,
example.
totally
That's
understand.
the only one I could think of when it happened.
All right. Well, thank you. I look forward to sending that out to you.
Thanks.
Regular board meeting. Okay, so we will move on to consent agenda. Have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
And moved and seconded. Any discussion?
A couple of questions.
Please, Mr. Marchand.
I don't have a activity account, so.
It's not on there.
Did you log in?
Did I accidentally put it in there? Okay.
No, it's, I got it.
Yeah.
5.03.
Yeah, it's on there, but just nothing on it. Nothing comes up.
Did you,
Let me look really quick and see if
hover over that?
I got it.
I put it in administrative content on accident when I tried to.
Oh,
Yeah.
So if he's not logged in, then he won't see
Log in
that,
right there.
and that should be in public, and that's,
So once you
This
get
is-
into board docs, you still log in with that little guy there. And now you go to meetings and then you click on it.
and it's not supposed to be there, guys. It's supposed to be in public.
In public.
On the spot. So I just fixed that. It is now
Yeah.
in public content because that's where it
You
always should
see
have
it
been.
now?
I don't.
there
Oh,
you go.
there, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And my question is, and I just wonder, I'm sure you guys have discussed this already, but it looks like the class of 2024 is almost 9 grand.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not anymore. They spent some last week.
They went to triple credit. But they still have substantial amount of money left.
Yeah, well, that's 4 times what I ever had for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They didn't
cool.
get to go on their 8th grade trip.
Yeah.
So that's a big part of why they have so much. Because most classes spend it on tour of Montana and they,
And proms.
So they have some money to spend before June 5th.
Yeah, they just went on a senior trip last week to Triple Play.
Sweet.
Yeah, so they had a fun day.
There's a couple in here, don't tell them how much they have.
They know.
Yeah,
They
no,
told me.
I was, because 2,000 was usually what I consider full.
Yeah.
And then the second question on warrants.
Yes.
Page 6 of 9, there's the transportation. And
Okay.
it's divided into, it looks like 3 payments. Is that how that's done?
So for reporting purposes, Mr. Marchand, we divide that into payments based on the number of kids per school. So that's required for OPS standards. So take the number of kids, divide them by total number per school, come up with percentage, and then I set that in the payroll or the account system. And when I plug in the number, it divides those, and then we report that at the end of the year so that each school has a representation of what type of funding
Yeah.
is going down.
Curious about that. So,
Yes.
but field trips and sports events are not calculated.
So field trips and sporting events come out of a different fund. They come out of impact aid. So that requirement is not in place for those. We track those locally, right? Based on our coding, but they're not required to be reported in the same way. And that's why you see 2 different claims there. You'll have your normal routes claim, and then I separate that and have your extracurriculars also.
Cool. I was just curious.
Yep.
Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor?
Okay.
Correspondence, para resignations.
so one resignation, prepare as listed in public content. That's been absorbed in, not reopened at this time, just for cutbacks. Every year we cut and scale back Perez to the bare minimum and then rehire in August as needed. So that one's our resignation.
That's just public information. So move on to student advocate athletic director resignation.
Mr. Grant is resigning as our AD student advocate and gonna finish his, see here it is?
Nope.
So yep, he's gonna go on to other things and will no longer be our AD.
Through June.
And that has been opened in-house. I don't know if the 5 days is up, but it's been opened in-house.
Moving on to retiring staff.
Mr. Picard is retiring at the end of this year. That position will not be replaced. And Adele Martin is retiring at the end of this year, and we have a recommendation for her position. But Mr. Picard will be missed greatly in the elementary, filling in on the high school and elementary. And Adele, of course, both Mr. Picard and Miss Martin started their careers in Mission and both finished their careers in Mission. So they'll both be missed.
Well, we move on to presentations. We have a high school student to present tonight.
Yes.
Art with elementary, does that sound right?
Yeah. So I'm just going to give you a quick overview, and then I have a student who's going to chat for just a minute, and we'll be quick. And I think we have some pictures for you here. So just to give you a real quick overview, I tried a new class this year, Art with Elementary, to try to give our high schoolers the experience of teaching art to younger children, but also give our younger children who don't have visual arts instruction embedded in their day the opportunity to take part in a bunch of art activities. So it's been a really popular class. I have 17 students, so it's a pretty big high school class. And we've been inviting by class the elementary students up since the beginning of the year to do integrated units. So you'll see on the next slide some pictures of that. Integrated units are where I talk to the
It's not coming up.
I'll just keep chatting. Something will pop up eventually.
And if it doesn't, I'll go to my email.
Okay, sounds good.
and get it going.
It's all good. So with the integrated units, we find out what the kids are learning about in the elementary school, and then the high schoolers work with me to design lessons for the younger kids, where they're making visual arts that follows along with kind of what they're learning in class. So it's connected to their learning in class. You want me to pause?
Yeah. Right.
And so we did that for the first 3 quarters of the school year. We invited the kids up, and each class had the opportunity to come up and do 3 different projects with us throughout the year. So we saw every kid in the elementary for 3 different multi-day projects, which meant that our high schoolers were pretty much working with kids every single day for a chunk of the time. And most days they would all come in and say, "Do we have kids today?" So here they are working with kids, and these are some of the lessons that we did throughout the year. So you can kind of read through those, but we did things like make clay penguins in little habitats when the first graders were learning about penguins. We made Viking shields with the 3rd grade and learned all the different parts of the Viking shields while they were learning about Vikings. And so we made all kinds of things. We did Mayan block prints with our 5th graders, and we tried to give them experiences, especially working with clay and printmaking, that they might not have been able to do in the regular classroom, utilizing our room and materials. And so they got to come up to us. You can see them working. You can also see some siblings there. So the siblings always come in and find their older sibling or cousin. And so that was really fun to do. And then moving along, just skip to the next one.
Okay.
We also were able to put on a district-wide art show with a piece from every elementary school kid in the show during our community showcase. And this isn't a class I'm probably going to be able to teach every year, but the years we do, I would love to bring this back because it was super fun to have all the families come over and see the high school and also see their work in the show. And the high schoolers did a lot of work setting up and taking down that show as well. So they got the experience of what that takes to put that all together. And then finally, this last quarter, we're doing a special project. Do you see those panels on the upper corner there? Those are the empty panels that line our cafeteria on the walls there, and they're pretty boring. And they've just been sitting there calling to us. So we have been working with Tyvek, which is what houses are wrapped in. And it's a really durable material that can also be painted with acrylic paints. And we've worked with every class in the elementary to make 2 Tyvek murals that will cover those 2 upper levels. So it will mean that the cafeteria still has the lower level for putting up their posters that they receive from the state and the federal government. And we'll have the upper 2 covered with beautiful art from every class in the elementary school, as well as the middle schoolers I'm working with, and our high schoolers are going to make 2 of their own. So we're excited to put that up in the next week or so. They're almost done, and you can see these 2 kind of finishing up some. They just need some borders on them. So that's what we've been up to in elementary art this year, something new. And I have Ash Seiler here to talk a little bit about her experience with the kids. So come on up and we'll come.
So elementary art has not only taught the younger kids more about things like solar systems and desert, but it's giving them a one-on-one learning experience with high schoolers like myself, high schoolers who may potentially be interested in teaching or pediatrics in the future. Elementary art helps the kids feel more connected and more excited because they look up to high schoolers who are also helping those who participate in elementary art talk more about ourselves and our futures, or learn more about ourselves and our futures.
Good job.
Do you have any questions for Ash or myself?
I do know the display at the meeting, it was very well talked about and receptive, so everybody loved the display of artwork. So I don't think a lot of people knew what it was exactly, but other than just it was on display, and they recognized a lot of kids' names that were on it, so there was a lot of good feedback on it. So I know you said you probably can't do it every year, but it was very well received. So if we can
It was fun to
incorporate
do,
it more often than
yeah.
not would be awesome. So
Yeah, it just seems like the right time when people are already coming in, but to have a little celebration.
Yeah.
Have people up there, so.
it was good.
Mhm.
And thank you for working with the younger kids.
It was very fun.
Yeah, my high schoolers have been amazing models for our younger kids.
Yeah.
They get so excited to see them. I mean, I told my high schoolers at the beginning how boring I was compared to them. And then I asked one of it was maybe a 3rd grader, said, who's cooler, me or these high schoolers? She's like, the high schoolers. And I said, why? And she said, well, because they have their whole lives ahead of them. Anyway, that was fun to hear.
Brutal
But
honesty.
brutally honest, but also it's been really fun to see the excitement, to see these guys really shine in the team. Yeah, cool. Thank you. Thank
Okay, thank you. Okay. We'll move on to board preparation and planning, board planning,
On pace,
the updates.
No,
School district goals 23-24.
sorry, okay, goals are updated through May. We'll have our end of the year report on goals in June or July when we finish our end of the year report, depending on when we get data. We're not completely clear yet on the new mass testing, how that data is going to come back. My understanding is it's not going to come back in terms of school proficiency. We may have to break that down by hand. So it's going to be a little different this year, being a pilot. But so June or July, we'll have a breakdown of school goals.
Thank you. Okay, that wraps up board preparation planning. We'll move on to new business. 11.01, end of year graduation and 8th grade promotion.
So 8th grade promotion, graduation coming up quickly, way quicker than it feels like. It went by very fast. We're there. So the recommendation for promotion is 8th grade promotion Wednesday, May 29th at 4 p.m. in the old gym. One board member needed for that. Graduation recommendation for high school is Saturday, June 1st at noon in the new gym, and we will need 2 board members for that.
Okay, so let's start with 8th grade. Do we have a board member willing to do 8th grade promotion? Are you?
I could squeeze it in.
Mr. Marchand for 8th grade promotion?
Gotcha.
Yeah, Marshall.
And then graduation, we need 2 board members. I would like to do it, obviously. Busy that day too.
I was gonna be. If nobody else then wants to. Mary, no?
I did 2 last year.
You did both?
I did them both last year,
Yeah,
and I'll
yeah.
have one next year,
You had
so
both, someone in both of them. last
I
year.
did have some
Oh,
of
yeah.
them last year. So I got somebody next year, so
Who's doing high school?
I'll take it next year.
We got 1 so far.
I've got Jeff and Tony. Are you, Tony, you're going once, twice?
I'll jump up here.
Me and Tony.
Gracias.
Okay,
As long as I bring water balloons.
sweet. Okay, I think we had some questions on the graduation plan. Girls? Yes, no?
Hey guys, I know most of you, actually. I didn't think I would know so many of the members, but Izzy and I are here on behalf of the 2024 senior class. And we would like to present our ideas and have some input on where graduation, the ceremony will be held. But most of all, we'd like to be heard. We had a brief discussion earlier today with Mr. Hendrickson, Izzy and I in the hallway, plus Adam. And we don't really feel like our voices were heard then, so we wanted to come today. We understand that there are some difficulties with having graduation outside, but ultimately, the ceremony is about the graduates and honoring their accomplishments. And we feel like we haven't really been taken into consideration as we would have hoped throughout the whole process. We didn't really know what to expect. So we would like to present to you a survey that we did. Izzy will give those to you.
Broke out some crayons.
We found that almost 90% of the class wants to have the ceremony outside. And Adam, if there was one more option on there, it would have been Adam would have liked to say that we ride in on horses.
That was the non-serious part of the conversation. I was no help, girl, sorry.
Even though it's
And I
funny.
wanted us to work Kentucky Derby hats. I guess that was the problem.
But yeah, so we found that almost 90% of us want to have it outside, and we know that Montana and the weather is she's a little crazy sometimes, but for at least up to 2 days before, there's no rain or precipitation, and for 3 days after, there's no rain or precipitation, and then the day of, there's a high of 73 and a UV index of 7. And little bit clouds and the winds. So,
Where did we have graduation last year?
It was outside.
and for the last 3 or 4 years, it's been outside.
Yeah.
So we would
No,
like to.
the time, 2 years ago when I graduated, it was inside.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Was it weather?
I think it might have been flat or out. I can't remember. There might have been talk about having it outside, but I think they had it inside. And then the time before that,
That was COVID.
COVID moved it outside. That was mandatory.
and then the time before that, it rained. They had it outside and it rained like a lot that day. So,
So we would just like to continue that this year for our 2024 class.
What's, I know it's logistically kind of hard for out there. Was there any other reasoning for wanting to, or securing it, moving it inside this year?
What's that?
Reasoning for moving it inside this year?
From outside?
Yeah.
Well, the weather unpredictability has been an issue every year. It's rained either the night before, morning of, or on graduation, all the 2 years that it was out, and then it thunder, lightning, and hail on the year we moved it in during graduation. But there was a couple handicap access was a concern as far as elderly people coming to graduation not being having to walk a long distance and then out onto the field. The other was that we finished our new gym and now have appropriate space to be able to do that, right? To host inside with, we have all the handicap seating and stuff like that, and the entrance that we use at the powwow too, that worked out pretty well. Along with just, there's a lot of work that goes into having that out there and moving everything out and then moving everything in and trying to get everything set up with the weather. We have had wind during graduation. That's been a problem. So those are all things taken in. Biggest was we finished a new gym. We were able to have that and be able to host inside. And we have the proper AC and cooling to make that happen.
Who usually makes the decision? I don't remember other this coming. I mean, we always come up with who we need board members. Is that your decision, Sean? Who decides where it's going to be? Or how do we decide that?
Yeah, it's kind of a it's been sort of consensus among all that work the graduation scene, what that looks like.
Yeah, I guess my main question, we've never asked the students in past history,
Have ever what?
ever asked the seniors what they would prefer. I mean, obviously weather is the biggest thing. Obviously, it doesn't matter what you want. If the weather's bad,
Yeah.
it's going to be indoors. Have we ever done that before?
Have we ever
Surveyed
them?
what the seniors wanted?
They do that in the senior class meetings. That's come up. And I heard about it a couple months ago, but hadn't heard anything since, and then just talked to them today about it. So I turned in our plan to Steve on Monday as far as what the layout and where it would be. So, but that's preliminary.
Okay.
So I guess, back to your question, is this a board decision or is this something that the students and the principal need to figure out?
It's a board action item as presented.
Normally, we would like this hashed out prior to today. I will say that we would want, I know it came up today. It was kind of brought up a couple months ago as a discussion item. We haven't heard, as a concern, for the possibility, but then we asked for data. We got that today. So I kind of feel like we're a little behind the 8 ball in terms of timing. The day of the meeting where we finalize it, We would have liked to have had this probably a month ago with the data so that we could present the possibility, and the board probably looking back at me saying, figure it out. All right. Because we don't want the board being caught right now in a position where you've got how, and really for what, I don't know, 30 years, it was in the old gym. I mean, there was no question of in or out. COVID changed everything, where the reason we went outside was for COVID. And then I believe senior class, kind of liked it. Even when we were able to come inside, they wanted it outside. I think the decision was made to go outside, but I do know, I think we had to hire a sound guy one year. Electricity is difficult out there in terms of having power and enough, speakers and such. So I know there's some logistic pieces to this. And yeah, so I guess, normally there's not been a issue. It's been worked out, either inside, outside. Why, we're at today, when it's an agenda item, that makes me uncomfortable, because like I told you guys today, it's, it's hard to put one, the recommendation of a principal, and administrative team, and the voice of the student body. So my recommendation would be, right, as I just mentioned, the board tell me to figure it out, and we will figure it out. And
Can we still make a motion but amend that the graduation plan, the venue of the high school graduation will still be
to be determined.
to be determined and figured out?
Yeah, and we've got to figure it out tomorrow. I mean, we're like I said, maybe
We should,
it would have been way better a month ago. I don't like, the day of kind of being presented with, these things and then trying to figure this out. But I also don't like the board being put in a position where there is no right answer. There is no right answer. Logistically, it's better inside. We don't know about the weather, electricity, air conditioning, space, tables. Maintenance crew isn't going to like having to move the stage, the chairs. They don't like it. Today you guys said you would move them. Those are the kinds of things, we're looking at. And do you want that kind of responsibility? But we're going to have to probably, depending on what the board decides. If you guys want to decide tonight, it's in or out. I'm good with that. If you feel like this is something we need to figure out, send it back to me. We will meet tomorrow.
Do you want us to table it? You guys graduate July 1st? Hey, I had to ask.
Well, I make the motion to recommend the, the promotion and graduation plan, but the location to be determined. Is that what we decided? Or what were you saying, Tony?
Yes, the
So then we're
recommendation
throwing
of the promotion and
that you
graduation
guys-
plan amended as presented, or as presented with the amended of the graduation, high school graduation location to be
As presented.
And then you guys.
We will let everyone know tomorrow.
Good. On a different note, as you guys transfer information down to the next classes, just remind them, hey, if you have thoughts on the graduation or anything else, just make sure it's in a timely manner, because when it comes to board action, there's not a whole lot that can be done. This one got amended because, like I said, it came down the pipe today, and it's not a crucial decision. I mean, no one's gonna lose any sleep over the decision that's gonna be made tomorrow on this. But we have to make we have to get everything set as far as board members being able to attend these things. So my recommendation is just pass the information down to your next classes, that anything that they want done has to be done in a more timely manner. Like, just try to get more time in, more responses, more. I like your survey's good. I mean, how many, you got
Color's
26
nice.
responses. How many kids in the class? 30. So that's pretty good. No, I mean, you did your due diligence, just the time is not the greatest, so.
I have a recommendation as Mary recommended as presented, amended to have location of high school graduation to be determined. Anybody want to add horses?
Well, if you have a meeting tomorrow,
Horses, if
you said that they would help set up, is that what I heard you say?
Those are things that we're
So
gonna talk about tomorrow.
talk
And
to
I-
your classmates, I mean, this,
And we may,
it takes a village.
this may be the one swing year, but I think in terms of long-term planning, we probably need to establish where graduation will be moving forward. Because, the only reason it was ever moved outside was for COVID. And then it was like requested, and I think we did it, and we were like in and then back out. And I do know weather is a big part of it. So there's a lot that goes into play, and we do have the facility now. I know every school does it different. Some schools it's every year outside. Some schools it's every year inside. Other schools it may fluctuate. I don't know. Ours has fluctuated the last couple of years, but I know for 100 years before that it was inside the doghouse. At 95 degrees. So
95, that's generous. 110.
that's how it's been. So let's sit down tomorrow and we'll figure it out. Okay,
I gotta have a second.
if that's what the board decides.
Yeah,
But I think it's up to them.
I thought you already said it, sorry.
Yeah.
So, I thought we were already in the discussion. Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I just have one thing, just like on the announcement, you set out inviting family and friends to your graduation. Did you just say at the high school? You never really said.
No, yeah,
Any
I just
certain
said St.
place.
Ignatius High School.
Yeah, just.
But it seemed like it'd be better when you knew where it was gonna be when you invited people, so they weren't hurrying to get to the field or hurrying or wondering, showing up in the parking lot, oh, we're just gonna follow the crowd. So that's just the thought, just maybe, I don't know how soon you need to know before announcements go out, but have a decision made before that time, I guess.
We'll have a junior class meeting and get that established right away as well.
Can't wait.
Can't wait. All right.
And you do know after all this work, come June 1st, it might be made for you.
And it might be made, it might be after this
I
year,
remember
maybe.
now when it was
Sorry,
rented,
yeah.
it was supposed
We'll
to be
also
outside
talk
the
about that.
frame and that morning they
Good.
moved it inside.
And that way, disgruntled will have a whole year to go through. So, yes.
Ready for vote?
So it's been amended?
It's been
Moved and
amended.
seconded? Yep. Any other discussion? All those in favor with the amendment? Okay. All right, well, thank you girls for coming in.
Thank you. Thank you.
Get your classmates ready if that's what you want. All right, we'll move on to coaching recommendations, fall and winter. Following the coaches listed.
Hopefully everybody's had a chance to look this over. So we've got fall high school football head coach Jason Peterson, Jamie Peterson, Justin Evans, assistant Chase Bauer, volunteer, same coaches that we had this year. Middle school football, Mr. Martin, Mr. Marjo, Mr. Lawrence, and high school volleyball, Miss Mock, Miss Sinkashola as assistant, and Miss Janelle Matt volunteer. Middle school volleyball, Riley Adamson and Miss Krantz, high school wrestling, Jason Peterson, Jamie Peterson, Lyle Cronk volunteer, and high school girls basketball, Dalton Delaney, Riley Adamson, and high school boys, Stuart Grant, Adam Huckleck.
I'll make a motion to hire the fall winter coaches for 2024-25 school year listed in public content.
I'll second that.
Okay, we're moving seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? I'll abstain since Justin's on there.
Sounds good.
Okay, 24-25 master agreement.
So recommended changes, updates, percents and language to the master agreement negotiations. Agreement contains the following: 3.5% increase to the base. Changes to Appendix B, change years to steps, delete, strike out steps 0 and 1, rename step 2 to say step 0 to 2, which takes care of 0 and 1. No need for 0 to 1. We can now just use 0 to 2 as our base. Longevity for years, move that from 14 to 19, from 15 to 19 to 14 to 19. Change 14 to 19, increase that by $200 from $1,600 to $1,800. Change 20 plus from 1,400 to 1,600. Add language that says step 0 to 2 is the base, and new teachers will move from step 0 to 2 to step 3. So they're not stuck at 1, 0, or 2 years or 1 year. They'll move from the base 0 to 2 to step 3.
And the last one, section 8.2,
Oh.
change language from shall be recommended to may be recommended.
And this is for the vacancy RIF committee. We changed that language a few years ago. So the superintendent, I believe it said shall. So it was kind of a moot point for the superintendent, not to be able to give input. And now we also had the experience this year where we went through it and we were at a meeting with 5 of us all at 7:30 with the language that said shall, and which we declared that basically meant will recommend. And we're like, well, why are we here if we all will or have to recommend? And most cases it will be shall, but there may be certain situations where everybody understands that it could be a may recommend, just because of different situations that may be presented. So moving it from shall be recommended to may, changing shall to the word may. And the master agreement with all the updates are attached. I get
Did
that
you
right?
guys
Anything
have
to
a
add?
chance to review it? Okay.
Yes. So I think everything looks good on our end. And I'll double fine tooth comb it before I sign it. But in terms of what was just presented, that was overwhelmingly approved by the union as well.
Okay.
And thank you to all the negotiators for making it happen on both the board and the teacher side of things.
Yes, thank you. It went very well.
So 8.2, when it still says shall, is supposed to be changed to may.
They're supposed to be straight.
It should be in red.
There was one, I don't think this one,
Because the one I have just had shall. I don't know if that's the-
8.2 and
The
may be
actual-
recommended, so the one that's in here, updated,
Okay.
is may.
Yeah, because the one I put that was attached to mine was had shall, so I just wanted to make sure that the one.
Okay.
Okay.
And we'll review tomorrow morning.
Yeah, like I said, I want to make sure that all those things, but what is outlined there is what we agreed to. So I think you can go ahead and approve it and we'll make sure that what was just outlined is actually all there. If that sounds good to everybody.
Right, I think her question is the actual master agreement that's on here hasn't been updated with the new
It
language.
has been updated with all the new language and I just clicked on it. Mine does have may be. So I'm not sure, I'm not.
And so shall be
understanding why.
filled as well.
So that's.
But you guys, we're just,
Yeah.
you guys can fix
So,
that.
Yeah, we'll
like,
make sure
and
it's-
that's, but as far as I know, what's attached, and that's why I'd like Caitlin to look over it.
Right,
Has all of those changes in there, but before we have it signed by everybody, we will have it all double checked.
I make the motion to recommend the changes, updates, percent and language to the master agreement and negotiations for 24-25.
been moved and seconded, any discussion?
So this is just a 1-year agreement, so the negotiations will go on again next year. And you're coming off a 2-year agreement. and the 3.5, that base, and then all the steps just go up accordingly.
Everything goes up 3.5% across the pay scale.
It goes 3.5 to the base, and then it's 3.3 between every step. So once we hit the base, every step, accumulates. It doesn't make it 3.5 for every cell, but the way it's set up, you hit the base, and then each one of those calculates. So that's
And
how.
did you have to dip into impact aid very far?
I will know that in about, what are we at, the 21st? I'll know that for sure in about 2 weeks.
The amount, but it's definitely
Happening.
Oh, it's definitely
Yeah.
going into impact.
It's
aid.
happening.
Yeah, a lot.
But I don't have a final tally of that yet. I guess, but as an update for you guys, I'm trying to finish up all the Title I money based on our coding and what percentages teachers teach Title I. Utilize that first, then we'll see where that leads to at the end of the year and what kind of transfers between funds we'll have.
Yeah, just the world we live in and the inflation that's taking place. It's just crazy there. So
We're fortunate to have a savings account, and we're dipping into savings next year to give a bump that we weren't able to give last year. But we're gonna have to,
Trump's definitely needed. That's
we're gonna have to definitely take a look at things next year, and it's gonna be very tight because we can't sustain living on our savings account. So yeah, it's most schools are cutting or, not being able to give a whole lot. I think we're banking on hopefully getting more students, and the possibility of the funding being restructured in the next legislative session, which is I'm very hopeful that happens. I'm optimistic if it can be run by the right politicians. Lance Melton at MTSBA has a proposal to restructure the funding, moving it away from A and B to the number of certified teachers you have in your district. The quality educator over A and B, which if it's restructured in that format, how it's going to be presented could mean a 15% increase for us and a 12% increase across the state of Montana on average. So it's a big deal. I mean, and I think
that's why it really made sense to just do the 1 year because of the legislative session and
we just got to get there. Yeah,
help.
we got to get there and see if it's going to come to fruition. It's a gamble, but I'm optimistic. I'm really hoping that
Everybody, like all of you and all of us and all the politicians, regardless of party, understands that Montana's system has to change in order to remain competitive. And so we're hopeful, and that's why we also wanted that something will change in this next session. But
time will tell. Yeah.
fingers crossed.
Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor of the changes? Moves on to Coke contract.
Okay, Coke came in, both Coke and Pepsi bid on the contract for the next 10 years. Coke came in with a better package. They didn't give us the upfront money, but Pepsi wasn't willing to increase their annual money. So Coke, and even though it's not upfront money, it will mean an additional roughly what we get on commissions is roughly, we get 30% commission, which is roughly around $2,000, and Coke was $12,000 upfront or $1,200 a year, and Pepsi was $2,500 annually. So they were twice the annual with the same commission. So a little more on signage, a little more on their sideline packages, things for, coolers, water bottles, etc. Same recycling package, same signage, and event signage was 800 more for Coke. So overall, it's my recommendation to go with Coke, remain with Coke as our refreshment distributor for the next 10 years. This used to be, when we offered real soda, was 15 grand a year is what we used to get for, and they both were interested in that option, but our wellness policy says no sugar pop, which is pretty consistent. So if we, 10 years from now, we say the heck with health, let's put some sugar in them pops, we can increase that money by a lot. But until that day, I'm recommending Coke and an annual, which is basically twice as much as what Pepsi was willing to do. So recommending Coke.
I'll recommend signing with Coke as our refreshment distributor for the next 10 years.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, move on to shop expansion.
Shop bids. Recommend accepting Serious construction bid for the shop expansion with the without the alt garage door. Will be framed in, but they will not add a garage door. In this climate, it's uncomfortable to recommend any spending of money, but I think it does finish up the building project. We have earmarked the money to get it done. It will go nowhere but up. When we bid it, the last go around, it was 420,000 for that addition. It included a lift, which is 15 grand. So considering the bid that we turned down, I believe that was wise at that time. And Sirius came in, I was hoping they would be closer to $100 a square foot for 3 walls and a ceiling. We had the estimation at 100 to 200 a square foot. It came out at 176. You could see there was a bid for 200 a square foot, and there was a bid for 246 per square foot. So whenever a school is involved, it tends to go higher, but this will finish all construction promised.
Question. Right. So the alternative garage door, you're just gonna wall that off and then leave it framed in order to put a garage door in the future?
Yes.
And then we don't think the price of that door is gonna go up in the future?
It's just, it's money I don't think we should spend right now. I would have rather not.
Not a necessity for that space at the time?
I didn't want to bite this off this quick as it was. I wanted to wait a few years, but if we want to get this done, this is what it's going to cost. And I can't recommend any more for the alt.
Because the current teacher's use was finishing room, just someplace without the dust, and so probably most of the project is probably, what size of door does he have to take projects out and just regular 36 or whatever?
No, it's just a normal size door.
Yeah,
on both
and most
sides.
projects fit through.
Yeah,
Get in a house eventually.
and I believe I have to look at the plans. If there's a double door from the outside, I'll look. Yeah. Get things in and out of, but there's a garage door going into it, and I know there's a pretty big door. There's a garage door from the building that goes into it.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, which they're dealing with now, getting it out the garage door there. I'll see if there's double doors or what they have, and I guess that would be a consideration. If there is no double door going out, and maybe 13, maybe worth the 13 grand, because you're gonna get a bed out. I don't know. I'll visit. We'll visit, but right now let's go without. and let's find out for sure
We can
what kind
always
of doors
add
are on the outside. And it will be framed in though, yes.
We can always add it later.
Yeah. And I know there's a lot of local garage doors. Help us out.
Yep.
Probably cheaper, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
Buying a product from a constructor or from a contractor is usually not the best route.
Right.
I make a motion to recommend accepting the Series Construction bid for the shop expansion without the alternate garage doors this time.
I second that.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? So there's no lift at this time either then, right?
No.
And kind of goes hand in hand, I think. Okay. Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor? All right, athletic director.
So this is open in-house right now, recommend opening, and the reason there's such a long list of items here is athletic director, depending on the school and the person that applies, could be anybody without a teaching certificate, could be a person off the street, it could be a teacher, it could be an administrator. It really depends on who applies. More than likely, we will not be able to afford a dean of students type administrator, although, you know, without Mr. Picard, I know middle school, high school, administrative duties are a lot. You know, you can hire dean of students at a teacher wage to not necessarily deal with discipline, but deal with students that are, you know, in discipline or have been in discipline problems that are working with them more as like a, you know, a student advocate. So that capacity of student advocate will more than likely be the focus, along with athletic director, facility use. I came up, you know, team photos. There's a long list of duties, and, you know, depending on, you know, you could have a teacher that's an AD with 2 prep periods for AD. I mean, it really is a moldable position, and we're recommending it at a very wide open place, but also understanding that budgets next year we need to be diligent. The administrators, everybody's already feeling it with, you know, everything that, you know, is wanted, and kind of the, you know, hearing the word no after, you know, the ESSER where, yeah, yes, you know, you want that, here's a, you know, here, you know, we were spending a lot of money and now we're like, no, we can't spend. We need to be very diligent with everything that we do. So asking to open it up with, you know, a pretty wide open lens, see who applies, and go from there. AD is a tough job. It's one of the tougher, you know, vice principal and AD are one of the tougher positions to do, you know, and so it's hard for teachers, you know, with 2 periods a day to try to get that done and do their, you know, their teaching, because things always come up, you know, with students, and it's difficult. You know, optimal would be, you know, that another person like we had with Mr. Grant that can do the duties and contribute to the other duties that we have and need, and do it in a economical way. But I don't know if that person's out there, so asking to open it up pretty wide open, and let's find what will fit for next year. Sooner the better, because ADs, you know, summer camps are coming up. There's things that this person's going to have to pick up quick and roll.
I'll make the motion to recommend the opening of the athletic director, facility use coordinator, camp coordinator, student advocate, dean of students, or a combination of duties depending on the district needs and certifications for the 24-25 school year with the attached job description.
I would say,
Okay, been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
The only discussion is, I would like, hopefully that we advertise something better formatting than just a long list of duties such as this. I think going through it and then organizing those duties or making it more palatable to the eye. Right now, it's very intimidating
Yeah.
to anybody that wants to look at it.
This list was created by the person leaving, so not the person coming in. But yeah, we're not going to advertise, all of these duties. That's a wide swath, including, it is listed as any combination of those.
Yeah.
That'll be the synopsis that'll go out in terms of duties. When we find that person, certification and what we can ask. If it's a teacher on staff and they have 2 prep periods, there's no way they're going to be able to do all of this.
And
They're
I
gonna be
know,
able to do
and I know
scheduling
when we advertise and the way it's formatted and any combination of it, it's gonna be hard for anybody to decipher what kind of pay range this is gonna be within until the applicant. So
They
I
have
think,
to apply.
and I think that's gonna be a hard thing for people to apply, is saying, I don't know how, is this gonna be $10,000 or $30,000 or, I don't know.
And I don't either.
I don't know how to format it or word it. We need to be able to format it and word it to attract somehow.
Then once they sign, oh, by the way, and
Here's your job description.
It's hard.
And it is hard because it's like I said, up 15 miles up the road, Ronan pays $60,000 for someone without a teaching degree. Here, that's not possible. So I mean, it's a tough position to do, and you really don't know until you get somebody to step forward, say I'm interested, and then we start looking at how we make that fit. But I don't know how to, and it's probably one of the only unique positions that can be molded around the person.
Yeah.
But you really almost have to start with the person and build the job.
And is it just open till filled, or are we looking to close? I know,
Open until filled.
and I know because there's a lot of summer planning that happens, especially with master schedules coming out. Would there be any entertainment of either contracting or getting services from the AD leaving until filled?
He's with us till the end of June. So a lot of those duties, will be, he's not going to quit tomorrow.
Yeah, well, I
Yeah,
understand
yeah.
that, but I know.
But we've got until the end of June, and then hopefully, if we don't get something in the next couple of weeks, we may have to look at that extension. Yeah, we're already, seems weird that we're in June, but we're in June.
Yeah.
So it's gonna happen quick. So we'll work that out in terms of, I'm sure the person leaving would be more than willing to extend it to live. Hopefully we can get somebody on and start transitioning for the next couple months. It might be paid the other way to transition, but one way or another, we need to get it advertised and opened up and then start looking for someone to take that over.
So how is I know we don't know what the salary is and can't figure it, but how's the AD stipend work into that?
It's this last 2 years, it's worked out as a para, and what a para would make annually was paid as a salary based on what a para would make hourly, along with the athletics stipend. So it would have been like the para plus the stipend for AD, which covers the after school part of it. And that was a big thing that came up this year. What was the schedule? We're asking next year for the person to be here 8:30 to 4 daily and not in out. It's going to happen. Someone has to be here.
Would they have Do we have a place for that person?
Yes. In terms of, you mean like space, like an office
Yeah.
space? Yes, yes, we have an office space.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Positions up.
Move on to trustee handbook.
So just, most handbooks will be July, this, with the new board members, nothing has changed in the trustee handbook. It just, the reminders of protocols, information about, being a trustee, and a handbook that goes along as a guide. If you have any questions, good to review, even for the veterans. Any board member that, may have questions in terms of procedure, protocol, expectations, it's in the hand. And no changes from last year.
So, can I ask real quick, is there also, school board association training that's available?
Yes.
There's Montana School Board Association, and they do offer trainings. And normally they do that over the PIR days in October, right?
I think so. We can get you hooked up with so that's part of what I'll do tomorrow is get you set up as for MTSBA, share all that information with you.
And you'll actually start getting emails for things that are coming into our area.
Add that to my list.
Lance Melton heads up Montana School Board Association, and we'll get you, I know they have trainings. And I believe during the October PIR days, that's the main one, those 2 days in October. But I do know that there are other trainings available.
There was online stuff.
There's other trainings available online, policies,
Have you guys
like
attended those?
daily class.
Not the in-person stuff.
There is a lot of them out there, though.
Oh,
I think when I jumped on the very first few emails that came in for new board member type training stuff, that was more of a online option than click through and look at them. Courses.
Do we have a motion on that yet?
Nope.
All motion to approve board trustee handbook 324-25.
I'll second that.
We moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Study it, know it, believe it.
cover to cover.
Gear Up Coordinator.
Recommending the hiring of Alan Pule as our Gear Up Coordinator pending the new grant is approved and we are able to fund the position. Gear Up is pretty much narrowed down to paying for the position in terms of the budget, but they're still waiting for the new grant to be approved. Has it been approved, the new grant? Do we know
Haven't
yet?
heard anything yet.
So we're waiting on that, but
They approved September, I believe. I think they approved
the short
the
term.
short term.
Yeah,
but
just
it's
the
still, and it doesn't. get
recovery
pushed
kind
until
of stuff, but the Gear Up official year doesn't start till October. It's on its own, whatever, 12-month, 7-year cycle, so. All signs are hopeful though.
And if it is, it'll go for 7 years. It'll be,
Not necessarily all the details within it, but that Montana is a Gear Up state for the next 7 years will be that.
Well, I'll make a recommendation of hiring Alan Pule as the Gear Up Coordinator pending the new grant is approved and able to fund the position.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
The award winner.
What's that?
Award-winning
Award-winning,
Gear
yeah.
Up Coordinator.
Yes.
All those in favor? Okay. Out-of-state travel.
Recommending out-of-state travel for middle school honors trip to Idaho. This is an annual event for the middle school students, sponsored by Mr. Martin and the middle school team. And they're requesting out-of-state travel to Silverwood on May 23rd.
I make a motion to recommend the out-of-state travel for the middle school honors trip to Idaho.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Sorry, I was just reading how many kids are going.
Yeah. Hefty.
Employment, summer maintenance.
So we approved 2 positions for summer earlier this year, and we're recommending Mark Toller and Melody Lerma for 30 to 40 hours a week over the summer with a pay of $14.67 an hour.
I make a motion to recommend, take the recommendation of Steve McCollum, head of maintenance, to hire Mark Toller and Melody for 30 to 40 hours a week.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Just one quick question. We always say 30 to 40 hours a week for those summer hire positions.
Yeah, most of the time it ends up being 40 hours a week. They work 4 10s, but there have been one person in the past was a teacher that just did the lawn work. And so it really wasn't 40, they could do it in 30, and it was pretty flexible. So one position is definitely 40 and one position could be less, depending on grounds and mowing. So,
Rain.
yeah.
What's their length of employment?
They start when school gets out and they go right up until school starts.
Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Okay, 11.11 employment.
A recommendation to hire Karen. Do better? Do better? Not very often I nail that. Mark it. Do better. All right, the high school math position, BA plus 50 with over 10 years of experience. Fortunate to
Interesting.
have an applicant. It's awesome.
I make the motion to recommend, take the recommendation of Mr. Hendrickson in the interview committee to hire Karen Duvetter for the high school math position, BA plus 50 over 10 years experience.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, 11.12 employment for 3rd grade.
I'll recommend
Sorry.
Janelle Azure, Matt for the open elementary position, BA 0 to 2 years. Miss Matt has been student teaching in the elementary. Doing a great job.
In 3rd grade, she'll move right into 3rd grade.
That's where she's been right now.
Student teaching, yeah.
I make the motion to recommend Janelle Asher Matt for the open elementary position.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, employment 11.13. Another elementary.
So this one is withdrawn, so we can just delete. I don't know why we didn't just delete this off, why we had to put this in there, but delete this one. Forget, this one is
Cancel
declined.
11.13.
Yes.
You have a motion to cancel that. All right, we'll move on to employment 11.14 for high school, middle school, Salish.
Recommend hiring Lauren Claremont, high school, middle school, Salish, PA 0 to 2. And again, I heard outstanding things, correct?
She been helping at all?
Student taught last year, I think. Yeah.
She's worked in the elementary school. I really wanted her as an elementary teacher. She's great.
I think she was student teaching in Dixon right now,
Yeah.
but doing a great job.
She's been through the program. I'll make a motion to hire in Lauren Claremont for high school, middle school, Salish.
I'll second that.
Move second, any discussion? All those in favor? Classified rehire for the year 24-25. List attached.
So you can see the recommendations, there were 4 that we recommended for non-renewal, just to cut back, not being able to fully, know who we're gonna have in the fall, students in and out. Obviously, those that were let go will be first up for rehire as positions open, but the recommendations are listed for rehire and classified staff. And in the executive content, there are 4 that were recommended and notified of non-renewal.
Yeah, until you actually get signed in.
I make the motion to recommend the classified list attached for the 24-25 school year.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded, any discussion? All those in favor? I'll abstain. 11.16, Indian Policy and Procedures, Impact Aid Director.
So recommend the hire of Krista McClure as our Indian Policy and Procedures with data collection and reports needed for surveys, our data collection annual for our Impact Aid Title VI grants, and our Tribal Council presentation, and working with the Indian Ed committees, as well as running all of our communications and surveys with our tribal parents through the IEC, and putting together our annual report that is needed for Impact Aid, Title I and Title VI.
We hired her last year for this.
Yeah, this will be the 3rd year.
Yeah, last 2 years been working out pretty well with this.
Yeah, we're still trying to work out how to get information out of Infinite Campus, but every year we're getting more done, and every year we add additional expectations. But surveys and data are going to be a big part of this position again next year.
I make the motion to recommend hiring Kristen McClure as the Indian Policy and Procedures with the data collection and reports needed for surveys, data collection for the 24-25 school year.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded, any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, 11.17, Board Policy Addition.
We'll recommend the addition of board policy under instruction, proficiency-based transformational learning policy. This is a policy that probably should have been implemented years ago. But the opportunity for transformational learning, if you've had an opportunity to read through this, is basically taking any opportunity that a student may have outside of the classes that we offer, that we can set up expectations for, and any sort of credit that we can provide given the guidelines, the standards, the expectations for the course. We basically can build our own course for credit for any skill opportunity that students may have if they're studying abroad and want to, they're going to spend a semester in France. not many of our students do that. It's a horrible example. Let's bring it a little closer to home. Let's say they want to, for example, if we didn't have the, next year, the simulators, or they want to learn more about mechanics, and we don't offer a true automotive mechanic course, the student could spend time at Stewart's Napa. We set up expectations, standards, and a student could get a credit in automotive mechanics with overseeing of the school district in terms of what will be deemed as a credit and what the expectations will be. So it really opens up the opportunity for students beyond the classroom to be able, and it's really hard for us because we don't have a lot of industry, but I think it's good to have in place for anything that may come up that's unique and an opportunity that students are interested in terms of beyond just, the senior project type, of projects that we had in the past, but real opportunity that may be presented and students may want to look into in terms of an opportunity to, again, try to get students trained in opportunities that they're going to, or skills they're going to need for their projected future. We really would like, in a perfect world, K-12 building of students' interests so that they are gaining the skills that they're going to need for their future in our K-12 system.
So when I looked at this, first question, bringing more local, would be summer youth opportunity through the tribe. A lot of students do that. Working with environmental managers, working at NRD, wildlife, forestry type situation, where they do on-hand training and work with those technical positions. Would that be included into this then as a possible?
It could, and surely, definitely could. We would just have to look at hours matched to semester and time. If they're doing it 8 hours a day, all day for a full summer, yes, that would be something that if they wanted to take a forestry, get a forestry credit over the summer with a YCC crew or however that it may, yes, those are the kinds of opportunities, but we have to look at specific standards and expectations and hours, and does it equate into a semester credit?
So that's ran through the travel education department, which would be something that you guys should link up with them on that.
Right.
Yeah. Of what job placement opportunity those students are going to could possibly do some credits. So that'd be a good opportunity.
Yes.
Sounds like it would take some fairly serious coordination by somebody.
Yes.
To student advocate or another on that list of things to do. But,
Unfortunately, it probably won't be the student advocate. It'll probably be the high school principal and the high school counselor, myself, and probably teachers that, can relate to whatever it is that maybe they're exploring. But yeah, yet to be not, it's going to be baby steps, but this will open the door for us to at least start looking at opportunities.
how does that affect A and B? Reading that here.
A and B?
Yeah.
Okay, so, does it say in the policies what you're
Says
referring
it's
to?
utilizing the provision of law allowing proficiency-based transformational learning A and B. Bottom sentence of
Of the public content list.
yeah.
Is it in the policy? Where's it?
It's in the policy.
Right above them.
Oh, okay. So that was taken right from the policy. So I'm sure if there's, where's it say? A and B?
Right at the bottom. the-
Starts with
It's
the
the
law
law
and
and
policy,
policy.
based in the
On the
district.
attachment,
It is the policy, it's the policy of the district to increase the flexibility and efficiency of the district's resources.
Opportunity, I mean, I think A and B is just another word for opportunities for students enrolled in schools. So A and B, it wouldn't be students from outside our school. We'd already be getting A and B for that student. So I think that's just another way of saying students.
It sounded like a good deal.
Yeah, I wish, yeah, it won't count for more A and B. It'll just, I think they're just using A and B as the example for students that are enrolled and we are getting A and B for them. It wouldn't be for student, again, one of those, it wouldn't be for others, any student from Ronan or, we would have to be getting A and B and our students.
Unless you transferred here.
Right.
Montana Youth Challenge over the summer.
Yeah.
And then transferred here, you might be able to apply for a.
Yeah, Montana Youth Challenge, they do a lot of, military type thing, but theirs are more, students there are really working on the high set, the old
Yeah.
traditional GED. So
It just
those
mentions
students,
that-
by the time they get back, are usually high set bound.
We've had both. Both that have students that have gone to Youth Challenge and come back with credits and graduated from here, and then students that have gone there and passed their high sets and went off into the universe. So they can do, there's actually 3
They
or
have
4
choice.
paths they can choose from at Youth Challenge.
And there might be additional things that they do there that could be given credit for, depending on what they're doing, right? I mean, we'd have to, again, this is first step. I mean, it's gonna take a lot of exploration in terms of how we, honor this. This is giving us the opportunity to go down the path and looking into those options. So, yeah.
I make the motion to recommend the addition to the board policy instruction, the proficiency-based transformational learning policy number 2130.
Second that. Second, any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, move on to last 11.18, school-based threat assessment protocol.
Okay, so again, legislation, we have to have posted on our website, our school-based threat assessment. There's a very large packet of protocols and procedures that can be utilized, but we need to add our procedure in terms of public knowledge that we do have a threat assessment protocol, and it does need to be posted on our website as it refers to policy 13300 and 13310, and that we have those protocols in place. So, and this will happen when a student threatens to shoot up, or if a student threatens another student to kill them, whenever a situation arises where one student is posing a threat to the entire student body or other students, we need to go through the process of threat assessment. We've had this come up a couple times this year where you can't necessarily even expel a student until the board determines whether it was a viable threat. So there's a lot, there's been a lot of changes to the zero tolerance, weapon-free school protocols that are now, we need to work through systems of threat assessments to first determine if it posed a threat to the student body themselves or others, and then moving forward with protocols in terms of psych evals, counselor evals, and the procedures for determining the level of threat that any person may have to the students or himself or others, herself, etc. So we have to get this posted up, and the protocols, everybody's pretty aware of the legislative changes. Our school site does a wonderful job of kind of driving this along with our high school counselor in terms of, or elementary counselor looking at, what the level of potential threat there is for the school or a particular student. And the legislation that's changed is just the amount of steps involved in assuring, back when a student was caught with a gun in their car and was instantly expelled. And then we had to have same thing now, only now when you find a gun, you need to determine, well, was it by accident? And much is determined by what they say. When the gun is found, you can now have to, there's varying degrees. What used to be zero tolerance is now a procedure that needs to be followed. And this is the procedure that we need to advertise to all of our constituents, that this is what we will follow in terms of a protocol if there is a threat to our school.
So I'll make a recommendation, this protocol be approved and posted on our school website.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, under reports, administration and leadership. Ms. Shellman, you're up first. Do you have anything to add?
Nothing to add from what's written there.
Okay. And you said Mr. Grant is not here for AD. Read his report. Moves us on to elementary. Ms. Moore, you are up. You've waited all night to speak to us.
From anticipation. Just kidding.
Coming up on the end of the year, enrollment is still the same, low, but we haven't lost many throughout the year, so that's good. Our attendance, the final number is 92%, which meets our goal of over maintaining it at 90%. So that's really huge for our school. The students on time, that's a little murky. We can't really get them to school on time, but we've been doing a better job of getting them to school. So I'm really proud of my staff for that. So it's been really good. The elementary's just been going on tons of field trips. It's field trip month. State testing is over, and so they're just letting loose and going to the bison range. River honoring was great. Powwow was great. The kids are having a blast all over the place. Fourth grade got to go to the ag days at the ranch up in Ronan, and there were many other schools from the valley that went. I guess it was our first time going. They said they've invited us every year, but I think they've accidentally sent us the flyer after it's been over. So we made a point to get in the correct communication so that they know how to get a hold of us when it was time to go. So that was great. Other than that, our play day is on June 4th. That's our big event coming up. It's only on June 4th. There is no backup day. We're going last day of school. We're hoping for good weather. And that's that. That's it. That's all I got. Okay. Thank you.
Your plant sale, I wanted to make it
yeah.
and I missed it, but I was hoping.
I forgot to put that in there. The plant sale raised over $2,400.
Wow.
Yeah, it was awesome. Miss Donovan did a heck of a job with it, and the kids did a fantastic job too. So they raised a bunch of money and then some. So no, it was great. And I think she plans to continue it next year. Everybody really showed up for it, so it was good stuff.
Does she grow those at home or at the?
The kids grow them in the classroom. I know she grows like her fair share in the greenhouse, and then she has her greenhouse at home, but the kids all planted all of them, started all of them, and then took care of them, and most of them were grown by them. Yeah.
So the community garden was utilized for part of that.
The probably the whole thing, I would say. My fourth grade uses it the most, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Thank you. Mr. Henderson, you're up.
Hello. All right. See the numbers in there. Just wanted to give a kudos to Mrs. Shellman. for creating all those art opportunities for not only our middle school and high school kids, but for the elementary. That was all her idea, right? She rolled that out, came up with it, said, hey, if I can make this happen and we can work it into the schedule, can we do it? Like, yeah, why not? So, but what you don't see is all the behind the scenes stuff that she does. Going to Helena to get clay, taking kids over there. The kiln is across the street, right? So when they fire projects, that's like 40 trips for her back and forth from her classroom out there. Like she'll just be rolling for days when she has some spare time. And then the art show, yeah, there were kids that helped, but that was like, a 35,000 step day, just getting stuff back and forth and getting it all organized and set it up. So there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that that she does that's just beyond the normal role, but we're lucky to have her and a lot of other educators that are committed like that. We're into state meet time. Tennis is in Missoula. Track is in Laurel. This weekend they'll be taking off later on. Seniors are going to take the exit survey. I'm trying to square that away for this week because we have some kids that are going to be gone. So we need to realize that we got to get that done before they take off now. Grad walk, we're going to do 5:31. That's that last a week from Friday. We're going to try and do grad walk, senior signing day, and graduation practice all in the same little window because we'll have everything together. We thought it would be probably the best use of time to tie all those things together instead of trying to fit them into absolutely crazy schedule in May. Got you guys for graduation. PLC team still working. We had 2 students placed at the State Music Festival, one in choir and one in band. Awesome job there. That's exciting to see. Spring concert was yesterday. If you went, you saw that and that. Again, I talked about Miss Shellman, but the behind the scenes, right? That's, if you notice those spring concerts, there's nothing that looks like them because they're all handwritten, right? Miss Baldwin writes all those scripts, incorporates the music, changes stuff, cuts music, works on the set, does all that stuff. And that's, she starts that when this is over and works on it basically throughout the year to get ready for the next year. So huge kudos to her for doing that, making it happen. This year was a pretty amazing way to end the show. So let's see.
I saw she had a ton of seniors in that class. How's her group coming up? She got numbers from every grade.
I don't know if there's going to be the trade from 8th to senior, but
I was surprised when I saw that.
Yeah. When they got honored, they were all in, right? And some of them slowly worked their way into being all in, but a good group to really get behind.
Yeah.
They really pushed all that stuff. So, but she seems to find people and get them to being excited and really into all that. So hopefully we can continue to do that. Let's see. Promotion 29th, new gym 4, spring mass alternative testing. We finished at 100%. Kudos to Mr. Martin for organizing all that.
Yeah.
For Cassie in the elementary, also being the go-between between the state. We got our first results back today. They were the science, which are sort of still ModCats or old testing, new testing, I'm not sure. So we're hoping to get the rest of the results here pretty soon. But they're an interesting report to try and decipher. Track and tennis are done. Seasons went great. a lot of success there on both ends. Spring Fling last Tuesday, that was awesome. That's the middle school time to celebrate the year. Basically a healthy choices day. Choosing the activities, getting out in the valley, doing some really cool things. Middle school student council and Mr. Martin planning that as well. So kudos went off. Great. It was awesome. Tour Montana started yesterday. Going great first 2 days. Awesome. Best first 2 days. I don't want to jinx it for tomorrow. Right. Kids like met the challenge and rose above. So they're excited. We're going to extend it. Had some change of plans because of things going on in some of the construction in some spots and some restoration stuff. So they're working to move things around. So it'll end up being tomorrow, first half of the day, they come back here, then they're going to barbecue and picnic in the garden area tomorrow. And then they'll have another morning thing on Thursday for the first half of the morning with, I can't remember who, with the tribe is going to be doing that.
So we're still doing day trips.
Day trips,
Come back every day.
yeah. And then, yeah, middle school honors to Silver. That's it. Winding down. We're moving.
One question, just because earlier the middle school 8th grade promotion, it had old gym on the original.
Yeah.
Is it the new gym or old?
Yeah, it's new gym. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll see.
Well,
Depends
I mean,
on
it was presented earlier at the old gym. That's what I was just.
Yeah.
That's what on when we.
We
first
share
talked
the
about it.
same equipment. That was the other thing I didn't bring up for promotion and graduation. And so if those are in the same spot or not, they have to be moved twice. I forgot about that.
Okay, thanks. Thank you.
And I don't have anything to add to mine.
Mr. Nesper, you're not highlighted, but did you have anything?
Sorry.
Well, if you got a second.
No,
Okay.
it's gotta be highlighted to talk.
Sorry.
I just saw you stand back there, so.
Where's your report?
It's right there. I think Christina ended up putting it in the administrative stuff or the hidden stuff.
Oh, it just didn't get highlighted.
It is right there. It's the last one in the links.
Oh, there you go. Sorry.
Not a lot really, but the big thing is I had a conversation with our E-rate representative. E-rate is a federal program at the FCC that offers us some pretty steep discounts on the sort of stuff that I would like to do in refurbishing wiring in particularly the elementary. It turns out I learned in my conversation with her that there is a several yearly budget that all schools get. There are a few pages in here in the report if you want to download and take a look at that. The one in particular is the Category 2 budget status. Category 2 stuff is like wiring, access points, stuff like that in the building, which is precisely what I'd like to do in the elementary, this portion of the, excuse me, the high school and most of the middle school. Well, the new stuff doesn't need updated at this point. But our budget, as of right now, which started in 21 and ends next year, is $91,000 plus some. So we have 85% of which would be covered by the feds. So we'd be responsible for about 13 grand of that if we were to spend the full $91,500. I don't think I could spend $91,000 on just product, which means that bidding it to an outside IT director or an IT contractor makes some sense. It's going to cost us almost nothing to do. So I'm looking at ways of spending that money in the feds. I'm told that that program will probably, almost certainly, in fact, be reinstituted moving forward. But because that budget is based on A and B, our dollar amount won't be as big moving forward if we continue seeing A and B numbers go down.
So I've included in that sort of rough sketches of what that'll look like as far as infrastructure upgrades. And I will be working with both our rep and probably talking to external contractors to see what that would look like.
So E-rate currently through the grant funding pays for our wireless internet. So all of our.
That's category 1.
Category 1.
Yep.
We've never had anybody take advantage of category 2. Former tech director had plenty of opportunities. I don't think he had the imagination that Mr. Nesper has.
I just sort of learned about it 2 weeks ago. So
yes,
trying to take advantage of something.
Dug through it, and so we have the opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, basically I would have to have something submitted, I think, in July or by July. So that's there will probably be a bid process. There will probably be, bringing a few contractors in to walk around the building, so this is what we need. A couple of weeks of, posted bids, whatever. So that's where we're at. That's my big thing. I don't think there was anything else of particular import. We did have that third green line copier is here and installed. It's sort of just hanging out in Steve's office right now. Since he won't be in there next year, we're going to sort of use that space as a middle school copy room. So they have, an interim place to do, 20, 30, 100 copies instead of going all the way up to the high school. I'm also beginning the process of looking at, as we, tighten our belts, what sort of stuff from the tech side can we live without? What should we get rid of? What can we free up? And stuff like that. So I will have a report on that when I have a report on it. Any questions for me? Fine. All right. Thank you.
Thanks. Now, Mr. Sargent, you're up.
Okay, I don't have a whole lot to add, just the flight simulators are on their way. Again, that's all funded through the Montana Advanced Opportunities and the AOPA donating the curriculum. So zero cost to the district in terms of the equipment. There's a couple parts they're still working on putting together, but they're going to start sending those materials quickly. Title VI, I'm still waiting for the IEC's sign-off sheet, and we can get that completed. We're in the middle of comprehensive plan review, not only for the school district, but now we also have to do a comprehensive school needs assessment for Perkins, which is 40 some pages of good times that we're working on. Talked about the funding formula that Lance Melton is working on, and kudos to him for taking a shot to help school districts across the state. Community development grant, I'm working with Mr. Steele, tribal council rep, who has some dollars for community development. He's working with the city. He's asked for a letter for things that we can, use community-based. Elders Park, obviously, would be a place that would be very beneficial for community, as well as the softball field. Both baseball field, softball field are utilized by community and would definitely fall within the community development grant that he's explained to me, but we're working on some proposals for that, for some additional equipment and needs in both of those places. Other than that, I don't have any. Mass testing is finishing up. It's gone by super fast. I can't believe it's June. It's been a very, very quick year. So
The Logan Health Unit stopped by. Is that
Yeah, they were here. Yeah, we saw a unit. It wasn't our unit,
No.
but we did see what our unit would look like if we had one. But
We have to revisit that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's been a year. Really.
yeah, we'll have to and we've been kind of, just, he's hit us up a couple times with emails, and we've been pretty short. Just great, let us know when it's ready, because
Yeah.
to their fault, we have not had a lot of communication this year in terms of updates and what was promised and what wasn't delivered, and is still not delivered. So we're not holding our breath, but we're optimistic that it someday may happen. But it was nice. I mean, yeah, it would be awesome, but it was here, but it wasn't ours.
Yeah.
What kind of unit is it?
It's basically, it's a doctor's office on wheels. And so we would have basically a doctor's office here on campus 1 day a week to start out with, and hopefully grow it to more days as it would grow. But the idea was, rather than drive to Polson, rather than drive, off campus, that once a week, those routine things that needed checked, teachers, students could utilize, and on campus doctor's office, essentially.
Do we know where the flight simulators are going?
Right in that office.
Right in there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. How many are there?
4.
Cool.
And you could have 3 students per simulator. And then there's a mission board where 2 students could work air traffic control, and the teacher would direct traffic from there's 1 big board and then 4 stations, essentially.
Could you only work on it in there, or is there access to other materials on any computer?
You would pretty much be, for the simulators, it would just be in there. You could do things on a laptop probably, but it wouldn't be relative to what we're going to have handles and foot pedals for the 4 stations.
Is that a program that somebody could complete in a year?
There's two certifications that we're shooting for, so they can walk, if they go through 2 certifications, which would take 2 years of straight class, a full year, they would walk out with the 2 certifications needed to go directly to a plane and start working with a pilot in an actual plane.
So you're a sophomore right now making that decision?
Yes, and it could just mean if a senior wanted to take it, they could take it for 1 year and get through at least the introductory, portion of this. But I think we're going to have more students that want it than fewer. I think, looking at additional class options, will be, course offerings. We'll start with 1 with 14 students, but I believe it's going to grow, and we'll have to figure out how we can get additional staff or others involved that could possibly offer some additional opportunities. Because I think there's going to be more students than 14, but we'll see. That's our goal. First year, 14.
Big shortage of air traffic controllers. I just heard that.
Yep. And pilots.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anything else? Is that it? Meeting adjourned, 9:04.
Thank you.
It's coming from your closet, my guy.
No, I don't have
Isn't nothing in your closet?
No.
Or is it your computer? I kept hearing it.
I thought it was just phone.
I thought it was
No,
just.
I'm sure that's what
No,
I
it's
thought
not.
it was too, was the sugar bubbles.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Almost what you got.
I normally have that on me, but I don't have it on me.
You throw it on the floor because you couldn't handle the sound.
I'll check my office. But that,
Might be something in the bookshelf. Who knows?
yeah,
Driving me crazy. It was like every 15 minutes it was beeping at us. So I'm going, what in the heck?
Who's gonna teach the class?
And is there gonna be an adult ed class?
Is there what?
Adult ed class.
Adult ed for yeah, that'd be
We,
awesome.
we actually talked about that. Christina and I were talking about it.
Well, I mean, what, I mean, you could,
Was it what?
you can do something to fund,
No, I don't. It's not.
fund something. Adult ed, you know, get some money to fund, well, obviously the funding usually goes to one teaching it, but,
Michelle Kohler might be interested in doing that.
Adult ed.
Adult
Yeah,
ed.
adult ed is a permissive mill.
Yeah.
I don't know what you guys want to do with that, but that's info for you.
Figure out what that beeping is. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I was like, do I get
I did too.
candy?
You
What
need
do we
sugar?
do?
Yeah, no, it's not me. Like, I'm usually that guy. I'm usually the beat guy. It usually means my blood sugars are going crazy. But
Send me a picture, Tony.
so.
Okay. No, you can.
Or none of those. Okay.
Well, welcome to the circus, Mr. Marchand.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a.
welcome to the jungle.
That is on fire, huh?
I always love about
Mr. Marchand,
9 o'clock.
that was a
You can
big
look at the
meeting.
glass.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was a
you
big
can look
meeting.
across.
There's
There's
a
a lot-
lot of
a lot
stuff
out there.
going on there that just is.
Yeah,
Not typical.
I was struggling to keep up a little bit. I have to practice modeling correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't seeing something.
And my door's open, I mean, if you got any questions, call me. Kind of, give you the rundown on procedures and protocols and whatever else, and any questions, just call me.
Walk in anytime. And we'll get you hooked up with MTSBA. There's offsite trainings, there's online trainings, there's lots of stuff you know.
And the biggest thing is
Just come in when you have questions.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times.
And you have the ones and twos and the alphabet already all over here. Yeah.
It's a lot easier to answer those questions
In
if you're not in
some,
front of.
put them on the other end for a comma.
Take time to give you good answers.
And there can't be three of us in a closed conversation,
No three at a party.
And
Yeah, you gotta break it up.
This and NPDS.
just because.
Yeah.
You can be in the same room, you can be at the same function, but just
Yes,
don't
there's,
stand in the
uh,
same
these-
circle and
And a bunch
talk about your grandkids, because somebody will say, wait, what are you talking about?
Yeah, we don't
Doesn't
use this
matter what it is.
Right?
This one's making no sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of goofy, but I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really interesting when I was working in Napa, because
Well,
JP were there, and then
I
Stan
think
would
the
walk
only
in.
thing that stood out on the block was like,
I can't help, you know, just because you just don't want that,
Yeah, you don't want the appearance of.
yeah,
Yeah.
something going on.